Hello and welcome back. There are many good videos on the standard class 2 MT and indeed the standard class as a whole. So in making this video I'll seek to explore the basics of the real thing and then focus on the models, and in particular 78,000. I've always had a soft spot for the standard class locos, and I certainly don't subscribe to the idea that they were a mistake. Indeed, Britain's railways needed them after coming out of 2 world wars and economic depression. The existing locomotives, awesome as they were tired and in need of care. There was also the issue of poor quality coal. The standard class brought together the best that steam loco design could offer, and then produced a class for the UK's railways that could have gone on to serve far longer than it eventually did. In fact, if there had not been such a rush to dieselisation, the standards would have served until the late 70s, maybe. 78,000 here is a Hornby model R3839 of these useful 2MT 260s. Clearly their progenitor was the LMS Ivet 2MT, introduced in 1945. It was decided that they could be incorporated into the standard range almost as they stood. Let's take a moment to compare it with the much earlier model by Batman of the Ivet 2MT, taken from my video made way back in 2012, the model having arrived in 2007. Funnily enough, I selected the exact same set of 3 BR Western Region coaches then as I have now. The main differences being the tapered boiler and narrower cab on the standards, as well as the use of side clack valves on the boiler instead of LMS top feed. They carried 4 tons of coal and 3,000 gallons of water in their tenders, and these tenders had a cab as well to improve reverse working for the crews. Talking of the tender, these were also fitted with water scoops for use where troughs were fitted. Getting back to 78,000 story now. She was delivered new along with 9 others to Oswestry Shed on December the 27th, 1952. She was one of 65 in the class. She then went to Machynlleth Shed code 89C, in April 1953. She would stay there working between Shrewsbury, Oswestry and the Welsh coast resorts of Aberystwyth and Porthmadog until 1963. In April 1961, 78,000 was outshot by Swindon in unlined green livery, and this is how the model appears, complete with shed code 89C on the smokebox door for Machynlleth. The SC underneath meant she had a self-cleaning smokebox, meaning the smokebox should only need emptying fortnightly. In May 1963 she was moved to Nottingham and then reverted back to black livery by Crew Works in October 1964. She was withdrawn in June 1965. While the southern region was the only one not to receive an allocation of these locos, they could be seen on cross-London freights from Willesden, and 78038 was at 9 Elms for the Surrey Wanderer Rail Tour in July 1964. They got on with the jobs they were given, and it was worked out that they were the cheapest standard class tender loco with a 7.48p per mile in old money versus repair costs. The model seems very good, but then it should, given the extreme original RRP. The only complaint I have is that if you fit the front coupling and details, the loco no longer fits in its protective packing for storage, something of a big oversight maybe. Tractive effort is really good, and she could easily pull 10 coaches or more. The cab is very well detailed, but it's hard to see due to the tender cab. Did you notice the crew? No? She's been performing a typical roster for the class, with a local free-coach train, then shunting the yard before heading off with a mixed goods train, returning soon after with a very short goods train, shunting again, then heading off with the return trip passenger duty. Hope you enjoyed all of that. Cheers for now.